racing straight ahead. No man can do like I can. I'm the queen of the land. Haters gonna hate. Won't be sorry now. Shoot me down, but I'll rise again. I'm laying down the law and you've been served. For my 1 billion, my billion, been holding up half the sky. Raise your hand if you're ready and willing. If you know it's time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time. Whether you're ready or not. Time for a girl on time. Whether you're ready or not. Time for a girl on time.
For mayhem, like me.
When I started Walton Goggins goggle glasses, I needed
Larson up at Indy. That's going to be fun to follow, isn't it?
It is always a great day. Even when I was here at the 600 racing, it was always a great day to just sit around, watch the F1 race, the Indy 500, and then go climb in that car. So
Monaco.
That's
cool.
right. Here's our top 10 from practice. Ross Chastain got about a tenth and a half on him right there over Ben Rhodes, Parker Kligerman, Andreas Perez, and Jack Wood, the top 5. So.
What do you think about this, Kevin? Would you rather, as a driver and this track as well as you know it, would you rather be in that first group or you want to be in this group?
I'm always picking the second group.
Yeah.
I always want the right rubber on the racetrack. I want to be able to sit there and relax, see if there's any issues on the track. You know, you've come here before and seen cars just spin out, not knowing what the grip level was, expecting it to be like last time. So I always like to sit around and watch that first group go to see if there's anything that I'm not expecting.
Go get them, boys.
That's right.
I'll be right with you.
Josh?
Well, down here with the fastest man in the first session of practice, Ross Chastain. You know, the last time you were in a truck here in 2022, you won the race. So do you feel like this beautiful truck, by the way, behind us, has what it takes to get back to victory lane?
Yeah, Josh, I do. Charlotte was my #1 race to drive for Al Neese and Neese Motorsports this year because of how fast our trucks have been. Carson should have won that year, and when he wasn't able to, we were able to get it done. And this team should have won, could have won this race several times. So, yeah, last year watching Honeycutt rip around here, I was like, I will be in that race next year. Yeah, for our NC Governor's Office of Highway Safety, protect your melon truck. This is cool. It's cool to unload with Wally Rogers. Everybody they're putting in this 44 with Bailey Curry, Matt Gould, and they're all going fast. So it's really every driver that gets in it. It's just like last week as well. So I just want to hold up my end of the deal, and Wally's giving us good trucks. So we'll go rip it. It's Florida watermelon season. Got a little watermelon flavor on the truck, and yeah, it's fun. That was a fun 25 laps there.
Always appreciate it, Ross. Good luck.
He'll be hard to beat.
I saw his family down in the garage area with a truckload of watermelons, and I scooped one up and took it to my camper. So I'm all set for watermelons.
All right, let's get started with Group 2 here. We see a lot of big names that we expect to be at the front of this field tonight, but none bigger than the one right on top right there. We know Kyle Busch has won 8 races here at Charlotte.
Lane
Second
Riggs,
half, yeah.
Chandler Smith, Caden Honeycutt, he's always fast. Stuart Frieson's got his trucks running really good this year as we're riding along on the roof of Corey Himes' Safe Flight Toyota.
And we know that Corey Heim, I mean, he's been the dominant truck, and that didn't just start this year. And we saw the finish of last week's race. We heard his perspective, and that's like we said, that's what it takes. You have to put yourself in the moment and be able to focus on what you're doing. But right now, these guys have been really, really good as you see him pop up to P3 right there on the board.
Right off the bat, the first 3 trucks' fastest laps have been that first lap around, Kevin, but the next 2 got it done on lap 2. So first couple of laps, the tires have passed their peak.
And that's very typical at this racetrack. You get a couple laps out of the tires, and the reason you probably get 2 laps out of the tires today that are faster on the second lap is because of the fact that it's so cool outside. Well, it's relatively cool compared to what the season temperatures that I remember being here.
Does that make you feel a little nervous? It's kind of I can kind of feel the bumps when you're down in 3 and 4 and see the movement in the vehicle from that roof cam.
Yeah, you see that truck move around right there as it goes over the tunnel. Always a lot of bumps over that tunnel. Actually, a lot better than it used to be before they repaved the racetrack. So always a fine line between going over the bumps good and maximizing the speed in the truck.
I really like that line. He was way down on that blue line, and as we see Kyle Busch across the start-finish line. His first lap, his third lap, 3 times around, and he's only 21st fastest, Kevin.
Definitely not what we expect out of Kyle Busch. And
look at those numbers at Charlotte. Amazing.
Amazing. That's a great. It is beyond amazing the amount of success that Kyle Busch has had here, and not only the Truck Series, but the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series. He's just been really, really good at this racetrack for so many years.
That 4th lap was 31.6, and that's just not Kyle Busch-esque. See all the bumps, see the truck moving around, and watch what happens. Bam!
Yeah, and
no wonder he didn't get a fast lap in early.
His truck looked really rigid compared to the Corey Heim truck that was very floaty over the bumps, and that truck looked like it was very rigid. So definitely have to work on this 7 truck a little bit to get it where it needs to be, but none better than the guy behind the wheel to guide you as to how much, and he's not going to be shy about telling you either.
No, you would hear an earful, and he's got a lot of obviously intelligence about the chassis and what he wants, and so he's going to be able to direct this team as to his adjustments that he needs.
As you see, another big wiggle right there by Gio.
Gio Ruggiero has been impressive. He's done really well week in and week out. See there, 12th in the points. Got a 2nd place finish season opener. He's just been good everywhere we've gone, and I've been impressed with him.
Gio's raced a ton, super late models, late model stocks all around the country. A lot of experience behind some of these younger kids.
Let's see what Gio's wiggles look like. Whoa. Doesn't look like much, Kevin, but when you're behind the wheel, it gets your attention in a hurry because you got to run so much throttle here. You barely roll out, and you're right back on the mat. And when you do that, and this is what I like about Gio, he had that big moment. He's still trucking along.
And that's what you got to do. Yeah, that's right. You can't back off. You have to keep pushing every lap to be able to find those boundaries and push those limits. And I really think that, we're going to see some of these trucks run this bottom line. But I believe with that resin on the racetrack, you're going to have to be in that middle lane. We know through 1 and 2 that you're going to have to be in the middle lane to carry that momentum. We see a lot of trucks trying to run the bottom of the racetrack. That's going to make the tires fall off faster. That's going to make the truck slide around more. So I truly believe that middle lane is the place to be right now.
Another truck that doesn't have a lot of speed and has been fast all year long, and that's Tyler Ankrum. He's down in 22nd behind Kyle Busch. He just ran his 9th lap and ran a 31.8. So a little bit of work here to do for this team too as he heads toward pit road to start that process.
And that's typically the case when your truck's not handling good. You're not going to run many laps in a row because there's just the 25 minutes. You don't have a lot of time to waste. See Raja Karuth right there. That HendrickCars.com Chevy truck.
It's a cars.com truck, right?
HendrickCars.com.
Truck.
Yeah.
You saw him go around BJ McLeod in the 07. BJ's just a tick of the watch off of what Kyle Busch runs, so those two Spire trucks got a little bit of work to do.
Yeah, and a lot of times these drivers, they'll go to the simulator, they'll make a lot of speculation on what the grip level is going to be, what the lap time is going to be, and they'll practice a certain way. They'll develop tire models to be able to put these drivers in conditions that they think are close to what is going to happen on the racetrack. And so when you see a lot of these trucks that are off, it usually means that the team has missed their speculation of what they think that the grip levels and handling conditions are going to be at the track. So, Josh, you have anything on Kyle Busch down there?
Yeah, Kevin, just an update on Kyle Busch and the condition with that truck right now. He said 3 and 4 is a little bit free, but that's not the problem spot for him. 1 and 2, he's just having trouble getting that truck to rotate, to roll over in the corner the way he wants it to. So they made some adjustments to try and help him out, but he was saying it almost felt like that truck wanted to turn right and go into the wall. So it's going to be some work to get this 7 truck where it needs to be because he's way down on the board in terms of speed and practice right now, guys.
Yeah, and it must be really uncomfortable for it to be that far down on the board because you can see the back of that truck just dancing around right there.
Up the hill he went.
Yeah. Well, we will see if Kyle Busch can get some speed out of that truck when we come back for Group 2 practice.
Upset stomach? Iberogast. Indigestion? Iberogast. Bloating? Iberogast. Thanks to a unique combination of herbs, Iberogast helps relieve 6 digestive symptoms to help you feel better. 6 digestive symptoms, the power of nature. Iberogast.
We asked people who said they've had Domino's stuffed crust pizza before to compare it to our new stuffed crust.
That's better than the one they have currently.
Only Domino's has never had stuffed crust before.
Are you serious?
Until now. Introducing Domino's new and first ever stuffed crust pizza. Try one for the first time tonight.
This is phenomenal.
Safe Flight Repair. Perfecting your swing is hard.
Nice shot, Dad.
Safe Light Replace. But replacing your windshield doesn't have to be. Get it fixed now and pay later with flexible payment options only at safelight.com.
Attention golfers, all this month when you get fit for PXG's exceptional golf clubs, we're giving you a free gift. 1 dozen PXG Extreme Tour or Tour X golf balls. Book your fitting now. PXG, you've never played like this before.
Blue Chew is my new go-to. This stuff right here. This stuff right here has changed my life. This is something that you definitely want to add into your inventory. But just be ready. One thing you're not going to do is regret getting it.
Are you throwing away money on your car insurance?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Try Insurify. We help you.
Way for Group 2 practice here for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Back on track here with our defending champ Mike Ty Majeski.
And he's second fast. He's got a lot of pace in that 98 truck. You saw him passing by some trucks, so he's having a nice practice session here. Kevin, this is his 100th start tonight, and 3 drivers have won a truck race in their 100th start. But we have to go way back to 2009 to find the last guy that did that. You know who it was?
Is he in our field?
He's in our booth.
You.
No, you.
I figured it was going. Did you run 100 truck races?
No, I
only ran 10.
I think I ran 10.
Yeah. You know what's bad about that, Mike, is I didn't even know I won a truck race here.
No, you didn't win it here. You won it at Phoenix.
Okay, good.
But it was your 100th start.
I got you.
In 2009.
I'm a little confused.
Yeah, okay. There's Grant Enfinger. He's been working on his truck. He's run 12 laps. I have an update on Kyle Busch. I'm officially not worried about him anymore. He ran his fastest lap on lap 9, and we talked about the tire fall off. And Grant Enfinger's another guy. He ran his fastest lap on lap 7. So sometimes your predictions, your engineering, your simulation doesn't quite give you what you're looking for. And when you got the experience that Grant Enfinger has and Kyle Busch has to come to pit road, give the team some direction, you're going to make the right adjustments and have that speed eventually.
See Jake Garcia here, another Thor Sport truck. He's really been the banner truck for Thor Sport. I wouldn't have imagined that we'd be at this point in the season and saying that, not taking anything against Jake, but they've just got so many experienced drivers, defending champion, but Jake has done a great job this year.
Got that second at Rockingham, set on the pole there. A lot of speed, 7th at Kansas. Everywhere we go, he's fast. You're right. Connor Mosak there in the 81. Marching up the back straightaway. Diving off into turn 3. He's running a little bit higher.
I like that, Mike. I just, with these trucks and knowing the application that is on the racetrack, I just believe that your tires are going to be, they're going to be less mad at you if you stay in the sticky stuff and keep that center to high groove. I expect the groove to really move up in 1 and 2 especially, and give these drivers a lot of options to be able to move around and make it so that you don't have to follow directly behind the guy in front of you. And you're going to be able to use that bottom lane. I think the bottom lane will make speed for a couple laps, but I just don't think that that's the place to be to take care of your tires.
Be interesting to see. There's Chandler Smith. He had a penalty for missing a NASCAR mandated driver's meeting they had earlier. And so they told him that when the series director decided it was time for him to roll.
Big wiggle.
He could. He might have wished he had said, just don't roll at all with that big slide. That gets your attention, doesn't it?
Well, I love that leadership, from the NASCAR side to show these guys that it's not okay to miss a driver's meeting. You have to be held accountable, and this is the place to do it. Set the tone early for these young drivers to know how this system works. Rule with that iron fist. As you're going to see this big wiggle right here from Chandler, probably committed back to the throttle, and truck just said not ready for that yet. Maybe in qualifying, but right now grip level's not quite there.
And are you surprised? I'm not, that we've seen most of the wiggles down in 3 and 4. That sun just beating down on that turn makes it very slippery, and that's where the guys have had the most trouble.
Well, you know as well as I do, you have to get a big square entry as Chandler is going to enter turn. Well, he's going to come into pits, but going into turn 3 right here where he's going, with the way that banking ramps up later in the corner, you have this big square entry to be able to get that truck pointed in the right direction through the center of the corner. And there's also bumps in the middle of the corner. There's bumps at the entry to the corner. And as the banking rolls off on the exit, there's a whole bunch of bumps that kind of make that truck just want to chatter loose up off the corner, and the banking flattens out right there.
See Chandler after that big slip. He decided to come in and work on that number 38 truck as we see Stuart Friesen down the back.
Saw him so close to getting to victory lane there at Atlanta. Lost by a little less than a half a truck length to Kyle Busch. Put up a great finish for us all to watch. Friesen was second here last year as well. So this has been a good racetrack for Stuart.
Yeah, it's top 5 at Kansas in our last mile and a half. So we'll see how he does here.
Got a little radio chatter from Stuart.
On the free side here, that got me like a number and a half better. Switch is bad right on the load up in the center.
That's pretty free.
It's free.
Yeah.
I get you.
This is a racetrack. When you're driving here, you want to drive off the right front tire just a little bit because it's going to get looser as you go through the night. And when you hear the drivers talking about being free, and that means they're not comfortable. They aren't going to go out there and be able to push it, and they're not going to be able to turn the wheel far enough to make that really good lap time and keep that truck cutting. When you're having to turn to the right and guard against that looseness, it just takes the driver comfort completely out of the window. Josh?
Yeah, and just an update on Stuart Friesen. Remember, he got that runner-up finish here last year, but I talked with the team earlier today, and they told me they brought a different setup than they did last year. They told me, listen, we finished second because of strategy. It wasn't because we had speed in this truck, so we needed to finish and figure out something to get a better running truck this time around. You talked about him struggling a bit in 3 and 4 right now, a little bit free, but Kevin, that seems to be a lot of what a lot of the drivers are saying out here. 3 and 4 is the biggest challenge. What makes that part of the track so tough out here?
Yeah, it's a really difficult corner, and when you're running that middle lane like a lot of the guys are running, I think it's two different issues. When you're running the middle lane, a lot of choppy bumps all the way through the corner. Kind of make that truck, if your truck's not riding the bumps like it needs to, it'll jar the back of that truck sideways. And then on the bottom of the racetrack, I just don't believe that there's as much grip. I don't think there's no resin sprayed from that bottom seam all the way to that white and blue line right there. So there's just not as much grip on the bottom of that racetrack. But I always felt like the choppiness of those bumps are really what jarred the back of the truck loose. We'll be back to wrap up this group's practice. As we see everybody trying to make big loose up off of turn 4. Gio Ruggiero down on the bottom of the racetrack, same area of the corner is Kyle Busch and Chandler Smith right here. Everybody right there about that 3/4 mark in turn 4 is just having a lot of trouble today, Mike.
We heard Kyle breaking it down for his team, exactly what he was feeling about the way that the truck would settle into the corner and then what he felt after that. Let's take a listen.
Just not stuck in 3 and 4. Like I go off in there, and if I carry more throttle, I'm just looser earlier. But if I lift, get the right rear in control, and then try to throttle landing out, I scooch the right rear too easy. Like it doesn't really turn the front, it just yaws with the right rear slipping.
Yaws.
Yeah.
Yaws means hangs out and the right rear slipping. And he's reporting all that to crew chief Brian Patty. And Brian is a genius when it comes to tuning on a truck. He's a very talented crew chief, and they'll get to the bottom of that in a hurry, I can promise you.
Yeah, and it seems to be a pretty consistent problem across the board, but that's what makes this racetrack great. You're never going to have a perfect handling vehicle. It might be better than everybody else's, but there's not going to be too many laps that you go around this track that it just feels really good. Let's go down to Josh, who has Parker Klickerman.
I can tell you Parker was 3rd on the board in the first session of practice. We hear a lot of drivers complaining about 3 and 4 out there. How did you fare over that portion of the track, and how did you feel about your truck overall?
Well, it's definitely loose. I saw the 7 and it was a 17 getting super loose. I had the exact same feeling, so I'm right with them. We really had to tighten up this Food Country USA truck, but Chris Carrier and everyone at Henderson Motorsports has worked hard. I'm glad to see this kind of speed. I don't know really where we stack up because it's so hot. Track's relatively greasy in that sense. I do have to admit something, though, Josh. You want to know?
Go ahead.
So I knew you should be flat down in turn 1 in a truck in 1 and 2. And I don't think I've run a truck race here in like 6 or some odd years. Couldn't remember. And so I went off into 1, and I lifted on the first lap. But then the next 2, I was flat out. So I was proud of that. But, you know, I had to put it out there. I felt bad. I felt just dirty not being flat. It was awful. But, yeah, I think we can be decent. I feel like we're in the game a little bit. But 3 and 4 is just so bumpy. The bumps knock you around. The truck jumps around. Feels like a motocross track down there. So whoever can find their way through there will be pretty good tonight. And for qualifying, I'm definitely going to be flat in 1 and 2. Only God knows what happens in 3 and 4. I have no idea.
Always appreciate the honesty, Parker. Good luck.
Well, he didn't let us down, Mike.
Oh, we told you he's entertaining.
That's right. He's always honest.
Napa Auto Care. That makes me happy, seeing that Napa truck. Daniel Hemrick's done such a great job in this truck. Got the big win at Martinsville, did the backflip. Napa's 100th anniversary. Talking to Bill McAnally down in the garage area, big Napa meeting. All the folks come together to give he gave his review of the season so far, and it was 10 out of 10, I think, for these guys.
Well, Bill McAnally always does a great job on the sponsorship side. Napa's been on board those West cars, East cars, trucks, everything that they've done for a long time. So Bill McAnally has done a great job with all these truck teams and making them competitive.
What about this truck? UNC Charlotte on the truck. Lane's a graduate from there, just up the road, like you said. What, 6 miles, did you say? Up
6
29?
miles. 6 miles up Highway 29.
Remember when Sandwich Construction Company was over there? We used to go there and have a beer every now and then.
Every now and then.
Or were you 21 yet?
Well, either way.
Lane will be a story tonight. He's got the 10th fastest time overall. But, you know, Kevin, we're getting into the point in the session now where we're really starting to study the 10, 15 lap averages. And when you look at that, Lane comes up second in the best 15 laps behind Ross Chastain, who is still atop of those most all the categories in this session.
And I think that's what you want. You want a truck that's going to go for a long ways. You want it to run fast in qualifying, but it's not the end of the world if it'll run that 10, 15, 20 laps in a row. You're hearing the drivers talk about how difficult these trucks are. So whoever is the most comfortable and can keep that pace longer than everybody else, that's really what you're looking for. But that's it. No more practice. So you've got what you've got right now. Hopefully you can make some good decisions.
Back in the day, practice would end. We'd have about 2 hours to think about what we were going to do qualifying. You know how long we got now?
About 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Let's go again, boys.
That's the way that it is in today's NASCAR world. Not a lot of practice, but you got to make a lot of decisions. So we'll see who does it best when we come back.
with victory.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced.
Later tonight, it's a doubleheader of racing on FS1 at Charlotte with the ARCA Menard Series at 6 p.m. Eastern and Truck Series at 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
Get you some popcorn, get in front of the TV, and don't move. We've got some great action here. We talked before we went to break about the best 15-lap average. Ross Chastain leads that category by 1/10 of a second, but you can see right on his heels is Lane Riggs.
Yeah, and you heard Ross talk about his teammate Caden Honeycutt and how much fun he was to watch drive last year. But we expect that 44 truck to be strong contender tonight. He felt good about his truck in practice. See if he can get himself qualified up front.
Protect that melon, Ross Chastain says.
Let's get it down to Josh Sims, who has our second fastest truck in practice.
Well, Kevin, I'm going to disrupt this meeting of the minds with ThorSport over here. Talked to Ty Majeski, and like you said, fastest in that second group. What were you guys discussing, and how did you feel about the truck?
Yeah, I think we have good speed, so that's good. Just need to work on the drivability a little bit, kind of understand the differences that we're going to see. Obviously, it's in the heat of the day today, and it's going to cool down a lot tonight, which is abnormal for May here in Charlotte. So, yeah, going to have to guess right on how the balance is going to shift, and you know, obviously have the right adjustments. So, have a good-looking overplay Ford F-150 this weekend, pink and purple, so can't miss us out there.
Ty, I know we talked extensively the last couple of weeks about trying to get back on track. I know it wasn't smooth last week, but you guys managed the top 10. How important are those days when things aren't going the way you want them to overall, especially as the defending champ?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, the last month isn't how we've wanted to go, but, you know, we've had good speed, and that's the hard part a lot of times in this business is it's hard to find that speed when you don't have it. Well, we're making mistakes while we have the speed, so I think that's easier for us to correct than the other way around. So certainly haven't lost any confidence, real optimistic going into this next group of races here, and Charlotte's a perfect place to get us back on track.
Appreciate it, Ty.
Well, ThorSport didn't win their first race until race 15 in 2024, so Majeski at IRP. So this isn't abnormal.
And it all turned out okay for Ty Majeski.
It all turned out perfectly fine. They wound up being the champions, so we'll find out Ty Majeski can put that truck up front when we come back. Drop the flag. We've seen your taco incident there on the back of Denny's car. We've dropped the cake.
The birthday cake.
But most recently, we have made the biggest drop of your career.
Look at that pattern I'm running. Fake to the left, cut across the middle, went wide open. Patrick Mahomes hits me right between the numbers.
And just dropped it.
I dropped it.
Flat out dropped it. But Mahomes was just completely devastated that you dropped a perfect pass.
Look what he said.
Just get in your car and drive home.
Get out of here, man.
That had to be pretty cool,
I had a chance to catch a pass from Patrick Mahomes, and it got away from me.
What'd that football feel like?
It was hard as a rock. I don't know how much air they put in footballs, but it hurt. I got a bruise.
It really surprised me how hard those guys can throw those footballs. But you've had a real problem with holding on to things.
Well, I learned at a young age I was going to have to sit on my butt to make a living. And because I couldn't run, jump, pass, or any of that stuff. And luckily, I figured out something you could do, and you didn't have to be that smart. And that was drive a race car.
Well, as you saw in that camera shot, we're still sitting on our butt for a living. So nothing's changed.
Justin Carroll coming up to speed in that 90 truck. We're going to see a lot of bobbing and weaving, I think, in this session, Kevin, because they got a flat go for it. We heard Parker Kligerman saying he would be flat in 1 and 2, but he had no idea what was going to happen when he got down to 3 and 4.
And that's the easy part about this qualifying session is the flat in 1 and 2. And as a driver, when you come up off of turn 2 right there, headed down the back straight like Justin is right now, you're trying to talk to yourself. All right, I made it through there pretty good. If you don't make it through there pretty good, you're thinking that you got to drive it down here and just throw caution to the wind and try to make something stick. But 3 and 4 is where the money is made if you're going to qualify on the pole today.
Well, he made it. That's the first step to making sure you get to have that truck ready to go racing tonight. 33.57. We expect that pole speed to be well down into the low 30s.
Yeah, our fastest truck in practice was Ross Chastain at a 30.64.
There's Timmy Hill in that 500th start celebration. Truck of his.
See that truck a little bit nervous right there on the entry into turn 1. Got to be really smooth with the wheel as you turn off into that entry.
You can see longtime sponsor Units there on the quarter panel for Timmy. Said he's got a lot of family and friends. Oh, watch him work that wheel. I love those white gloves.
I love when they wear white gloves. As you saw Timmy walk that truck up the hill, trying to keep that truck from spinning out. When it's loose, that's what we talk about. You want to walk it up the hill to just ride the looseness on the exit of the corner.
He ran a 31.36. He ran about a tenth faster than his practice speed. I like seeing how these guys are able to adjust and pick up when they go qualifying to try to figure out what kind of speed is in the track at this point in the day.
See the 2 truck here of Cody Dennison on the racetrack next. Way up the racetrack there through the middle of the corner. Started on the bottom up the hill there off of turn 2.
That was wild. These guys are, like we said, it's going to be a fun session to follow. See who can hang on to their trucks the best. And oh,
man.
I thought it got away from him.
Yeah, just up the racetrack, and that right rear tire probably got hung on that seam, and that's something that we'll talk about a lot tonight in the race. When that right front or right rear tire, it'll actually grab that vehicle and just catch it. And you saw that right rear kind of slide on that seam right there.
That looked like it was going for a big slide, but he did a nice job. Cody did, corralling it in.
Josh.
Well, checking in with Chandler Smith, the most recent winner in the Truck Series, a win you had to fight hard for last week. So how's it feel coming to the track fresh off a win, and how do you feel about the truck?
Yeah, I mean, it was great this week. Just business as usual, just trying to get this new truck dialed in. This number 38 QuickTime Products Ford F-150 today in practice wasn't great. We definitely got a little bit of work to do, so where we're thrashing, trying to make sure we make the right adjustments and be calculated, because the track's going to change a lot going into the nighttime, so just making sure we turn all the right knobs to hopefully we can have a back-to-back win.
There you go, Chandler Smith, 2 wins on the season, looking for a third to catch Corey Heim.
Yeah, you see Stephen Parsons right to the top of the board, 30.69.
That's pretty much 0.8 faster than he practiced in the heat of the day earlier. Track temperatures, I still think, would be going up with that sun still shining brightly down on turn 3. So great job by Stephen putting that truck down putting that lap down in that truck.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see that a lot tonight as we see Frankie Muniz here. Looks like he shut it off there, Mike.
Yeah, he's didn't have a very good practice session, only able to run a few laps.
Yeah, he's done. Obviously, something in that truck that he didn't like, didn't feel comfortable with. We'll have to find out exactly what happened to that 33 truck.
It's cool looking, though, isn't it?
I like the front of it.
Spencer Boyd takes to the high banks here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
And he's done well. He's had 2 top 15s in the last 4 races.
More speed for Spencer than we've seen early in the season, and that's what you want to do. Just as the summer rolls on, just get better and better.
See him run that middle lane coming to the green flag. I think getting up to speed, that could be where you want to be to carry the most momentum down here into turn 1, where you know you want to keep your foot on the floor and run that thing wide open.
A little bit of a bobble down on the bottom, washed up just a bit. Ideally, you'd want that nose to be right on that line. I'll be interested to see if any of the fast trucks really cut the bottom on their hot lap in 3 and 4. What do you think? Do you think mostly it'll be up, or do you think it'll be down?
I think it could go either way, honestly. I think that the lanes are pretty even. When you go back and watch this race, the lanes were pretty even a long way through the race last year. So
Spencer goes 32.28. He's the 3rd of the 5 drivers that have taken time so far.
Next truck is Dawson Sutton, Rafley Roofing Chevrolet.
Rackley Roofing, Chad Kendrick, the crew chief for Dawson.
Dawson was at Hickory Motor Speedway last night running the super late model race. Got a full weekend.
The old ghost truck. Sutton had a really solid 1 and 2, didn't he? That also means he got up to speed, coming to the green really well also.
And this is a lot like restrictor plate racing with these trucks here for qualifying. You got to get off the pit road good. You got to keep that momentum through 3 and 4 so that you can run that wide open truck through 1 and 2. As you see Dawson go to the top of the board, 30.59.
And Kevin, that's the fastest lap we've seen here today. That's faster than anyone ran in practice. So starting to see those times drop down. I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody maybe nick into those 29.90s or not.
Well, we're going to find out right now what this racetrack has in store for speed as we see Ross Chastain, who was our fastest truck in practice, right down to the bottom of the racetrack. The back of that truck just barely slipped.
It was sliding, but he did a good job of hanging on to it, didn't he? But you can see what a great turn 1 and 2 Dawson had. Stefan closed on him with our ghost truck in 3 and 4 as Ross goes through the middle of the racetrack.
And that's that exit right there. That's really where you see the middle of the racetrack and that momentum. And I think that's the right place to be because of that resin and the grip level and the way that you want to carry that momentum with these trucks to keep them wound up down the straightaway. So we'll find out if anybody can beat Ross Chastain. Motor Speedway as Matt Mills takes to the racetrack for his qualifying lap.
Just sounds good, doesn't it? Charlotte Motor Speedway. This Memorial Day weekend celebration we have here, and kicking it off with these trucks on FS1. This is coming home to go racing. America's home for racing is Charlotte Motor Speedway. What about that line there? Mills took it up to the middle. It looked like he made good time too. Yeah, you can see he's tracking pretty good toward Ross.
Well, he likes this racetrack. He had his career best finish here last year, finished 4th.
That's a solid lap. Got a little high off forward, which might cost him some time. He'll go second. Just clipping Dawson Sutton. A couple thousandths of a second.
Yeah, still a great lap for Matt. And really with the last couple trucks, we've seen that this is a versatile racetrack right now. You've got some decisions to make from the driver's seat, and you've got a couple of different ways that it's been done so far. So not a clear-cut answer. As you see Andreas Perez here out on the racetrack in that 77 Telcel truck.
Yeah, Andres had some good speed in practice. He was 7th quick in the 77, ran down in the 30-80s. Looks like a solid lap here as he goes just about a half a truck length off the bottom into 3.
2 truck starts here at Charlotte. 1 top 5 and 2 top 10s. And 2 ARCA starts here. So definitely a racetrack that he's got a little bit of familiarity with to be able to have that confidence. P2 right now.
Nice lap. Now we know exactly what this next guy coming to take the green flag is going to do. He's going to go down to turns 1 and 2, and he's going to run wide open. He was mad at himself for not doing it earlier. Parker Kligerman told us wide open right here. Looks like a solid. Ooh, did that slip up on him?
Yeah, and I really know that Parker was committed. We know that for sure. But we know that the money is made down here on the other end, and all these guys have been fighting a loose truck all day. You see him to the bottom of the racetrack. If you're going to run the bottom, that's the place to do it. Right there on that paint. That paint will get stickier and stickier through the weekend, but Parker off a little bit compared to our fastest truck, Ross Chastain. That's going to put him 6th quick.
Well, he'll be disappointed with that. It looked like it pushed. You know, the front end maybe lost grip up off turn 2. He got a little bit wide off turn 2, and that's slower than he practiced, so that's not going to. We need to interview him again, see how he feels about it now. He was mad at himself earlier. What do you think he is now?
He's probably frustrated now.
Tony Breidinger in that 5 Celsius truck. Let's watch her work her hands. You see there that big bump off turn 2. Watch her head bob in there as she bounces through 3 and 4.
Hear that truck still hitting the ground. We heard that in practice today, but it's hitting the ground pretty hard right there, Mike.
Look at that. So much intensity. .31 flat for Tony. About a second better than she practiced, so she's got I've seen that a lot with her. She just continuously gets better throughout the day. She's got to be pleased with that pickup. In that pickup.
Absolutely. And it's just it's a constant learning curve of knowing what you can do, pushing those limits, as we see Brandon Jones now on the racetrack right through the middle of the racetrack through turns 1 and 2. 6th start of 2025. Best finish the 6th so far at Kansas. Trying to better that this weekend here at Charlotte.
Got a handful of top 10s in the Xfinity Series here at Charlotte, so we know he can get around this place. Practice didn't go great, but looks like he's having a nice run here.
Ran the bottom of the racetrack. Slots him in 2nd quick, 34.69.
Good lap. He'll say to himself and his team, we can win from there, guys. We know this track's going to go through a big change before we go racing tonight, so who knows who's going to be most versatile. I wouldn't bet much against Ross Chastain, no matter what you do.
Well, this guy right here, Ben Rhodes, he's been pretty solid at this racetrack. 8 straight top 10s at Charlotte with a win in 2023. So this will definitely be a truck that we expect to be in contention tonight.
This is best of all the tracks, and he loves this place.
Yeah, you see his entry to the corner right there. Not quite as much arc as Ross had in that middle lane, on the entrance to the corner, and that just hurts him through the middle of the corner because that truck's just not pointed in the right direction.
Shuts her down, 7th quick, 30.75 for Ben. Just a tick quicker than he practiced earlier.
Next on the track, we've got Jack Wood. 3 top 15 finishes in the last 5 races. Looking to do a little better than that this weekend here at Charlotte.
He was 8th quick in practice, so he had some good speed. Ran that higher line through 1 and 2.
And that's always the trick. You have that speed, and it's like we talked earlier. You want the speed, but you got to have the drivability in the truck. But right now, all they care about is speed.
Yeah, lap time. We'll worry about when it cools off when it cools off.
Such a great corner by that 44 truck of Ross Chastain. See him pretty much beat every truck that we've seen so far through that end of the racetrack.
He has to be really pleased with the way his number 44 truck hit the track here today. Talked about Al Neese and how special Al is to him in his career, giving him the opportunity to prove that he's got what it takes to go win, not only in the trucks, but in Cup, and he's done just that.
Well, this guy right here, Matt Crafton, he's been here forever, literally forever, in the truck series. He's been able to put himself in victory lane here one time back in 2008.
Wow.
So he knows how to get it done here.
That's about as long ago as when you won your 100th race.
Well, we're the same age, so we're both old.
Yeah, I was trying to point that out, and I'm glad you noticed.
Yeah.
Oh, bobbing and weaving is Matt. That was not what he was looking for. 31.04 in practice, and wow. Slowed down here in qualifying.
Well, we've got Corey Heim and Kyle Busch still to come in qualifying. We'll see if any of them can knock Ross Chastain off the top. As we see Connor Mozak take to the track in his number 81.
Using that high lane to come to the green flag. A lot of times on tracks of this size, Kevin, these guys will do that just to have the RPMs wound up as best they can. I don't think turn 3 and 4 is a place where you can really play that game, because you just need maximum grip wherever you can find it, high, low, whatever it is. Connor did a nice job.
It's definitely a momentum game when you're trying to get these trucks up to speed. You need all the distance that you can get. But like you say, if you have to lift, that really kind of takes away that high lane. As you see, Connor a little lower on the racetrack than Ross.
He's got a good lap going here.
Fourth quick, 30.514 for Connor Mozak.
It's about a half second faster than he was able to practice, so that's a big pickup. And
that's what we expect.
Yeah, that's the positivity for sure for that team.
Rajah Caruth next on the racetrack. You have that sponsor on the side of your truck at this racetrack. You better know it means something.
He ran that high line. I like what we're seeing. This guy's making decisions and seeing some lap time. Look at him gain as he goes down the back, right to the bottom. Look at that nose, right down on that line. I like that line.
Yeah, and he's right there with Ross as he exits the corner, but that momentum from the second lane in the 44 truck is going to keep Rajah from beating him, but still a great lap. Second quick for Rajah.
Rajah's always good on the 1.5 mile tracks. 4 out of the last 6 races he's been top 10, so you expect him to be right up toward the front.
Oh, Stuart Friesen having some trouble here. His truck did not get going off of pit road.
Some sort of problem with the electrical system, most likely.
Hard to tell. Definitely not under power. That's for sure.
Safety team's going out to give him a shove.
Definitely not the way that he wanted his qualifying session to go. Let's see what happened here when Stewart launched.
They just shut down. A little bit of work to do.
And that's the hard part about these types of situations. If they do have to go in and change a motor or transmission or driveline or whatever that is, not a lot of time for these teams to be able to turn these vehicles around to make adjustments when it comes to those big-time parts and pieces.
Loves this track, too. Another guy that raves about how fun it is to race here. He's a dirt racer from up in Canada, so when you're bouncing and slipping and sliding, he's right at home. He came home second last May here at Charlotte, so expect him to run well tonight, get this problem behind him.
And we've seen him run well a few times this year. And you know, he's kind of been up and down as far as the performance has gone through the first part of the season.
Started the season strong. We saw him almost win Atlanta versus Kyle Busch. And then on the last 1.5 miles, Kansas, top 5. So I'm sure he's looking forward to tonight.
And when you come to a racetrack like this where you have that confidence, you've had that past success, and then you fire off a pit road and you have a problem, it's not something that takes you completely out of the night, but it deflates you instantly, because you know that qualifying is such a big part of this process in so many aspects, whether it's where you start or picking your pit stall for the next weekend. There's just so many pieces that depend on this qualifying session. Well, this guy right here, Tanner Gray, has been pretty good over the past couple years. Won the last 2 poles here at Charlotte, so
going for the 3rd in a row.
We're going to see if Tanner Gray can get his 3rd in a row and knock Ross Chastain off the top of the board. But he's got the history to back it up. As you see, big loose there off the top of the racetrack. Doesn't seem like he had to check up out of the throttle, but he was all the way up the racetrack, coming out of the pits and to the green.
See what kind of line he's able to run through 1 and 2. Right on the bottom, that truck's bobbling though, loose. Look at that speed though. He's right there where he needs to be versus Chastain. Here's the money corner.
This is the money corner. You got to get that big arc into the corner. That's what the 44 truck has done so well. As you see Tanner go to the bottom of the racetrack, doesn't make it all the way to the bottom, Can he hold on all the way to the start-finish line? He's going to do it, Mike.
Yes, sir.
30.21. Just a couple hundredths of a second faster than Ross Chastain.
That was a cool lap. That truck looked a little wobbly off turn 2, but then through 3 and 4, just solid.
He was able to make that low line work better than anybody else and must have been buried back into the throttle because he did not lose that distance like most trucks off the exit of turn 4. Here's another contender, Corey Heim. We've talked about his stats. You see him right there with Tanner Gray at the exit of turn 2.
Wow, that looks smooth too. Let's listen to the throttle trace down here. Just rolled up out of it ever so slightly. Can he get there?
No, second quick for Corey Heim. You heard that truck just bottom out. Probably a little bit more than he would have liked through turns 3 and 4. So look how close that is. 215 to 216.
You know, Kevin, when I drove, I used to love when I heard those side skirts scraping the ground because I said, my team's got me down on the ground where I need to be. That was a good feeling for me. Sometimes if it goes a little too far, that's a problem, but I like hearing them scrape along.
Jake Garcia next on the racetrack. We talked about Jake. Seeing his truck, he's going to be right there on the entrance to turn 3.
I love seeing him run that bottom through 3 and 4. That's solid, but he just can't keep the gas where Tanner Gray had his.
Yeah, you saw that back of that Garcia truck as he winds up 5th quick right there. Just slide just enough to delay being able to reapply that throttle to the exit of turn 4.
Off turn 4.
Well, this is the wild card, Kyle Busch. He did not make very good speed in the first couple laps of practice. They made some adjustments. You felt good about the pace of his truck after that. So really we have no idea what the qualifying pace of this truck could be.
I think he's got it. We saw that great turns 1 and 2. The king of the truck series nipping at Tanner Gray's tailgate.
You see Tanner's truck just able to accelerate so good through the center of that corner and carry that speed off the exit of the corner. That'll slot Kyle Busch in P6, 30.412.
It's a big pickup from practice for Kyle and that team. Tanner Gray, Corey Heim, 1-2 so far. Isn't that how they wound up a year ago?
Same front row from last year currently.
Wonder if anybody can upset that apple cart.
Well, this guy right here could. Gio Ruggiero has had a great year.
Did you like how low he was? That was cool.
I love when they're able to wrap that line. When you can wrap that line, it just sucks that truck right around the corner. See him miss it down here in 3 and 4 just a little bit.
It's slipping. Gio said those two aren't going to be on the front row this year.
Right to the top of the board, Gio Ruggiero. Great lap. What a great lap by Gio Ruggiero. Gio Ruggiero on top of the board right now. We'll see if he can hang on as we finish qualifying here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Two wheels.
wrap this line all the way through 1 and 2.
It just looks like that thing picks up speed in the middle of the corner as he nipped down on that paint and just did a great job of executing 1 and 2. And then the same thing in 3 and 4. Just a really solid lap.
You see Caden Honeycutt on track right now. This kid races everything, Mike. He's our most recent Cars Tour Pro late model winner. Last year's champion, Snowball Derby champion.
He's just a talented young racer and did a great job on this qualifying lap. Put him in the top 5 in that 45. Just a couple of hundredths of a second slower than his teammate, Ross Chastain.
Well, you look at the top of this leaderboard, and it's the who's who of the truck series, and then you add Ross Chastain right there in the middle of the mix, Kyle Busch there in P8. It's going to be one heck of a night for truck racing.
This is Kyle Busch's teammate tonight, BJ McLeod, in the 07 truck.
BJ doesn't do a lot of truck racing, but able to drive this Spire truck tonight.
Smooth turns 1 and 2. He runs the middle through 3 and 4. We've seen everything work down there.
This is actually BJ's first start since 2021 at Darlington, so tough to just jump in these trucks and be right up to speed, but definitely I expect BJ to get better as this night goes on, just getting comfortable with the feeling of these trucks.
Great opportunity for him. 14th
quick
for that beautiful roller coaster truck. They're building a roller coaster in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and it's all over that truck.
Last year's champ, Ty Majeski. Talked to him on pit road. Sounded like he was pretty happy with his truck. See him run that middle lane right there.
Looks like he's got great speed too. Look at the middle lane paying off down the back as he uses that momentum as he enters turn 3, just a half a tenth off.
Yeah, you see a nice arc there. Splits that seam. In the middle of 3 and 4 right there.
Also a little bit down there.
8th quick for Ty. Just got to get him close, Mike.
That's right.
If you can see the front, those first 3 or 4 rows right there.
The whole world's changing tonight. It's going to be, the sun's going to go down. Not only that, but we're going to be pack racing. These guys are going to be tight with one another. Your balance has got to be right to be able to run up front. So anything, like you said, up near the top 10, you feel like you can go win this race.
Yeah, you're going to have a comfortable truck as we watch Grant Enfinger make his qualifying lap. It didn't look very comfortable right there.
There's very few of them that have.
3 straight top 5s for in the ARCA race tonight. Going to get a lot of laps today.
Grant Enfinger, Cletus McFarland's going to be racing in that.
Definitely has been a part of the conversation last couple of weeks, but not just the last couple of weeks. Really, since he came into the truck series last year, we know and have come to expect this truck to race in the front of the pack.
Yeah, he's just a very talented young racer and just does a great job. Got a little bit of controversy with Corey Heim last week at Wilkesboro, but you're going to have that.
Used all the racetrack right there.
He'll go 6 quick.
Right in the mix.
UNC Charlotte. It's a cool looking truck. It's got his alma mater on there.
Down to 3 trucks to go. The next one on the racetrack, Daniel Hemrick. Already been to victory lane this year at Martinsville, back in the truck series full time in Bill McAnally's Napa number 19.
He hasn't raced at Charlotte since 2018 in a truck. How about that? Wonder how much difference he thinks it is. I'm going to ask him after this session how different things feel 7 years later.
Probably the biggest difference is going to be when they drop the green flag. You know how these truckers are. They go crazy when the green flag drops.
They go crazy is a great way to put it. Good turn there for Daniel.
Great exit. 6th quick for Daniel Hemrick.
And then there were 2.
Tyler Ankrum, next truck on the racetrack. 8 top 10s in 2025, tied with Corey Heim. So he's been very, very consistent as he's gone through the season so far.
I was talking to him in the garage earlier today, and he was at Texas, and his radio fell out of its holder, and he could barely hear anybody, and he's just so freaked out about what was going on. Finally, he was able to get under caution and wrangle it back in and put it back where it belonged.
It's amazing how just the mirror falling down or not being in the right place or your radio falling out or your door pad touching your arm, how much every little thing like that can bother you inside the truck. But Tyler's going to have some work to do tonight.
Yeah, back in 22nd. Not a great lap.
Last week's winner, Chandler Smith, will be the last one to take a shot at Gio Ruggiero being on top of this board.
We saw what Ruggiero did in turns 1 and 2, ran really low. Looks like Chandler's going to try to do that same thing. Didn't quite get down on the paint.
Saw Chandler get put in a penalty box here a little bit today. Might have hurt them just a little bit with their adjustments and the time that they had on the racetrack being limited compared to everybody else. Going to be a decent lap.
That's when you lean on your teammate, Lane Riggs, to say, what'd y'all do? What are we missing? And so he's going to slide in 9th quick.
Well, Gio Ruggiero is going to get his first career pole in his 11th start to start the race tonight here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Let's go down to Josh Sims.
All right, Gio, you always remember the first one. First career pole, you get it done here at Charlotte. First of all, what's the feeling like accomplishing that?
Yeah, it feels good. I think we got a really good truck going into the race tonight. I feel calm, relaxed, and just got to go out there and do my thing tonight, be there at the end of the race. That's the most important thing. I think got a really fast truck. My crew chief, Jeremy Donnelly, I think 3 years in a row he's got the pole here now, so that's pretty cool for him.
So we've talked about this stretch you're on right now, 4 top 10s in the last 5 races. Your crew chief told me it's not about the ABCs anymore of racing in the truck series. You guys are diving deeper. How is this progression going for you in terms of this season?
Yeah, it's good. Obviously started off with a good finish at Daytona and just kind of building off that momentum. So going to all these tracks that I've never been to, try to get up to speed the best I can in practice and kind of learn everything that I can quickly. As the race goes on, I'm still learning. So really excited to be on the pole tonight and have some clean air out front.
Gio's going to lead the field to green later on here tonight. Kevin?
Gio's the 5th driver to win his first career truck pole here at Charlotte, and what a place to do that. Yeah. This is such a tough racetrack, but Gio Ruggiero, Tanner Gray, who's no stranger to the front row here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, will lead them to green tonight.
3 Tricon Toyotas in the first 3 spots as Corey Heim rose off 3rd.
Let's take a look at Gio's stats from this season.
And they've been impressive. Like he said, started off the season with that runner-up finish at Daytona, top 10s, top 5s, just really solid all year long.
And when you look at his past, when you look at the ARCA Series, and now you look at the Truck Series success that he's had to start this season, the fact that he's having success is really no surprise to the industry. When you look at his results from super late models and late model stocks and back into the ARCA Series, he was a winner.
Yes, he was, and he's going to be a winner in the Truck Series. I'm confident in saying that now, just a third of the way into the season.
Well, let's go down to Josh, who has the guy that's going to start on the front road right beside Gio.
Yeah, Tanner couldn't make it 3 years in a row on the pole here at Charlotte, but not bad to be on the front row and up front next to your teammate.
Yeah, no, it's, obviously I would have liked to have done it again, but Gio obviously put down a really good lap. So it's cool for Tricon Garage to be 1, 2, 3 there. I don't know if we've ever done that before, so it shows just a testament back to everybody at the shop of how much speed we have in the trucks. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the race tonight. I feel like we struggled with balance a little bit there in practice. So hopefully we can get it tightened up just a little bit. But yeah, just really proud of everybody from Tricon. Big thanks to Black's Tire for being on board this week, and glad to get them a front row starting spot. But yeah, we'll try to go execute a little bit during the race and hopefully have a better outcome than we had last year.
I know you're starting on the front row, but when I checked in with you earlier, you said you felt okay about the truck. What makes this track so challenging? We hear so many of you guys come off the track and talk about turns 3 and 4. How do you get the truck where you need it to be to make it manageable at least?
Yeah, well, I think it's tough. You know, we practice during the day and we race at night, and this place seems really sensitive to temperature, so, you know, that throws, you know, a little bit of a wrench in things. And then, obviously, just with how rough 3 and 4 is, ride quality is not the best, so I feel like it just magnifies your balance a little bit and probably makes it feel a little worse than what it maybe is. But, yeah, I have a lot of confidence in the 15 group here and Jeff Hensley. They've been working hard this week, and feel like our truck has a lot of speed. We just need to get the balance a little bit closer. So I think we'll make some good changes going into tonight and try to execute on my end and have a good day.
Tricon Garage starting 1, 2, 3 tonight.
And we got some news for Tanner. Tricon had never done that before. First time they've started 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, and that's quite a feat as a team owner to be able to have your truck start 1, 2, 3. That really gives you a good indication about the details of your organization and the way that you're executing. When you can bring 3 trucks and not only, you're not talking like 9th, 10th, and 11th. You're 1, 2, 3. That's quite a feat.
And, you know, you got to think about where we're at, too, Charlotte Motor Speedway. There's so many men and women that work at Tricon that are going to be coming down here this evening to watch in person their fruits of their labor. They're going to see all 3 of their trucks start right up front.
A lot of pride when you come to this racetrack to be able to see your trucks run up front. Well, we know that Tricon is going to be happy with their performance, and see a lot of contenders up in the front of the field. You see Ross Chastain there right next to Corey Heim in row 2.
Our short list of winners before this session ever started was, you know, when you and I were talking, Ross Chastain, Lane Riggs, Corey Heim, Chandler Smith, and all 4 of those trucks are right up there in the top 10.
Yeah, and as you look at the second page of our starting lineup here, you see last year's champ Ty Majeski and Kyle Busch there on row 6. So this field is deep.
It is. B.J. McLeod put it in the top 20 alongside Stephen Parsons. He did a nice job in qualifying. Ben Rhodes. These cats back here have got some work to do. We know how happy Parker Quickerman was with his truck. A lot of trucks to pass here tonight, Kevin.
Tyler Ankrum there. We know his truck has performed well all year. So going to be an interesting race tonight with as many good trucks as we have in this field. And all of these drivers talking about how difficult this racetrack has been to handle. None of these guys have said, my truck is an absolute dream to drive. We hear them talk about ride quality. We hear them talk about the speed of their truck. I like the guys that talk about how they feel like the ride quality is good. And I don't know that we've heard too many talk about, hey, I'm super comfortable.
Right. And, you know, we talked at the top of the show about Charlotte Motor Speedway being unique. A lot of tracks you can get that comfortability that you're looking for. You're not ever going to get it here. There's so many bumps and so many twists and changes. As we're looking at Stuart Friesen's truck, we know that the thing died on him when he went to qualify. Looks like, I guess, maybe an electrical issue.
Yeah, you saw him take off right here for qualifying. The truck accelerates off of pit road, and then all of a sudden, it just dies. You see Stewart pull that truck down on the apron, had to be pushed back into the garage. So let's go down to Josh to see what's going on.
Well, Kevin, I can tell you the team is working right now to try and figure out exactly what is wrong with this truck. They had the same issue actually during practice where it just shut off on them. So they said there was still power going to the dash, but for some reason the truck shut off in practice and in qualifying. So as you see, the team hard at work. The hood is up right now. They're going to work to figure out exactly what is wrong with this thing. You talked about drivers being comfortable out there on the track. A lot worse when the track is uncomfortable and your truck just shuts off on you guys.
Yeah, and there's nothing worse than chasing those electrical gremlins that pop up in a race vehicle, and you see the dash out of the truck right there. You see a lot of panels, one of the panels off the tunnel cover there. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see if they can track down this problem and figure out how to make this truck run correctly.
Little nerve-wracking here, just a couple hours from starting time.
Well, we'll be back to wrap this up. Gio Ruggiero on the pole for tonight's NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We'll be back to wrap it up when we get back. Well, let's take a look at how close it actually was here in qualifying between our 3 trucks here. Gio Ruggiero got the pole by that much, Michael.
Oh, man. Half a truck length. And as a driver, you look back and say, what could I have done there? Just leaving the foot on the gas pedal a second longer could be that difference.
Yeah, and his strength, you pointed it out during his lap. He was really able to wrap that line through turns 1 and 2. And 3 and 4, he was able to get back to the throttle and really accelerate off the corner better than well, everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, he beat them all, as a matter of fact. So it's fun to see a new pole winner on the front row tonight. Gio's been creeping up on this night as we've gone through the season, so he's been very competitive all year. Tricon 1, 2, 3, but Gio Ruggiero, the best truck today here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway in NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series qualifying. Tonight we'll be back to see who can make it happen.
They are 2 of the PBA's best-known champions, the Iceman, Jesper Svensson,